And you can see the ladybug right here. Hi, I'm Miltonchang of Bonsai Heirloom. And actually today I have 3 elms here. This is the standard Ulmus pavifolia, a Chinese lace bark elm. And this is the corking Seiju Elm with nice rough bark. And then this is actually the Catlin elm. The leaves are more glossy and very nice material for mame bonsai. So what I would do is I will not be focusing on doing this, but basically to show you the process, you start with a sapling, an elm tree that's growing, you cut it here, and then these shoots up, and then the bottom branches out. So if I let this branch grow up longer and this branch grow up longer, then these will be thicker than the ones up there, much to scale of a tree that's growing. The branch, the skinny branches are skinnier, and the bottom are thicker. So if you begin with a simple elm cuttings or a sapling, then you cut the top to about the height about 75% of the height you want, 3/4 the height you want the bonsai ultimately to be, and then build it up from there. And then this is the second phase where after you let it grow a while, some branches are thicker and different angles, and then you can work on that to choose it until you let it get thick, and then this gets taller. Then you cut off the bottom if necessary to shape, and then pretty soon you have this one. So let me work on this one to show you. About 6 to 8 weeks ago, there was no leaf on this tree at all because that was the springtime. And then the bud started to emerge, and next thing, boom, 6 to 8 weeks later, you can see it's quite full. And ideally, I should leave it for another couple of months for the thing to get even bigger and to thicken the trunk to make to feed the tree to make the trunk grow thicker. But that's thick enough. So let me now show you the next stage of fine tuning to make that into a next step, more refined bonsai. Now, Seiju Elm, unlike the other elms, have very not so good characteristic. That is, the branches are very brittle. If you try to wire it, they tend to break. So actually, the clip and grow method is a more desirable approach. So with that in mind, then, normally I would try to comb out the bottom first. But I think the bottom is good enough at this point. I don't think I will change it. So I'll leave it in the pot, but I will continue to fertilize it and water it more, and the tree will grow because there's a lot of fiber roots underneath it, undisturbed. So with that in mind, then, since I'm going to keep the bottom intact, I'm going to start working on the apex and going down. And as the question earlier, the apex got to be within this group because that's the top. I cut off the top, and later I'll come back and fine-tune it. And then I basically try to cut off the long branches. And the idea is like, rather than working on the individual branch now, is to first poodle it so that I don't lose track of the overall shape that I want to design it into. So with that in mind, then, looking at this tree, I think there are going to be several branches coming out, but overall it will be a round hat, and then with some humps here and there where there are thick trunks. So with that in mind, then, let me just poodle the tree to approximate shape, so that that will help me not lose track of the overall design. That means I can see this side coming out a little bit more, and I don't want to make it too symmetrical, so I make this side a little bit longer. And the same thing on this side. If you notice how the barber cuts your hair, he actually grabs a bunch and then he cuts it because he wanted to be kind of rounded off like that. So that's what I do the same. You can always draw an analogy learning from one trade to the next in terms of a haircut and morph into bonsai design. you want to follow the overall design of the tree, but then you also want to introduce some asymmetry because that's more artistic. So like this could be to starting point could be like a overall round tree with a round hat. But on the other hand, it's a lot more interesting if this side is a little bit longer than the other one and maybe have a hump here. So it will grow like this, longer, but with a hump to continue the outline of the hat. So that's, and then again, grabbing a whole bunch of them to cut it so that you get the more the finished look of a mature tree. So before I go into the next level of detail, you can see that's what I would want up to be. If I cut off a little bit of this, you can see this is a kind of a top. You want it to go down like this, and you want to create a little bit of gap, and then you like this one to grow a little longer and taller, and then this side a little bit shorter, and you may even not having too much branch there. And so now with that in mind, then I'm done with the first step, and now I'll go back into the fine tuning. For example, select which one of this group will be the apex, or which of the group will stand out as a sub-apex and so forth. So that's the beginning of the finished tree. And then this is a desirable material for cuttings, so I'll save them for cuttings. With that in mind then, I will look at this part to create the apex, and I will cut off some of the side branches to accentuate the top. And it can be multiple tops, especially for deciduous tree. So I want the tree to be, and you want to cut off some of the branches so it's not too dense, because the dense will cover the beauty of the trunk. You want to expose the trunk as well, have some enough ramification to show the age and the care, the health of the tree. So I just now basically keep on clipping. So you can see the top is a nice looking tree. So you want to just keep working from that point down, keep going until you get it right. So it would take me probably 15 minutes to finish this tree, but that's all it takes if you do it quickly and decisively. Because again, you cannot get rid of it. And I notice here, there's a ladybug, and that's a really good thing for controlling insects. And so I will leave it alone because early on today, the Q&A was about how to insect control. So natural insect control is wonderful. Have some ladybugs and stuff, even praying mantis around is very, very nice. So I'm gonna, right now what I'm doing is to trim off all the excess branches. And in fact, at the end, I forgot to last week's video, which is the trident maple. I should really defoliate the whole thing. So when the leaves come out, they will be uniformly good looking because they'll be about the same size and same kind of a tender green versus some big, some old, and some different coloration. But anyway, that was close enough. But I would actually strip all the leaves off the trident maple and strip the leaves off this one so that when they come out in a few weeks, they'll be all very much similar. So the backside is all done, trimmed to very bare. And I'll do the same to the front. Then I'll be done. When you cut off quickly, but you always pay attention to the placement of the branch as well as the direction of the bud if you can. Although direction is less important than the location because you can always change the angle afterwards. So actually, I think this is the front, because you can see these branches coming out, the roots coming out nicely. And this is the tree. And I cut off all of the redundant branches. This is the front, because then you have a branch coming out, and there's some back branch, smaller branches going out in the back. I think this is pretty darn close to a really nice tree. So that's a tree. And you can see the ladybug right here. And elm tend to have some small insects on it, so the ladybug is having a good time, like little red spiders and stuff like that. So with that in mind, then I would do the final step after I do the major trimming is to pull off most of the leaves. A few remaining, it's effects of life. But the point is that when the leaves come out, they'll be all coming out at the same time. They will have the same tenderness, and it'll make the tree look more attractive in about 4 to 6 weeks, which I'll show you what it'll look like. So that is what you do to prepare a tree for a show or a photo shoot, so that when they come out, they will all be nice and tender green. But it looks pretty bare when I'm done, but that's okay. The deciduous trees grow really quickly in 4 to 6 weeks. You'll be surprised how much it will grow. I think this is especially a thing that needs to be done for the trident maple, because the trident maple tend to look quite different old versus new. So with that in mind, then I'm done with this bonsai. I want to summarize what I did today. I want to show you how to make a elm sapling into a bonsai like this, a stately bonsai. Basically, you have an elm that's growing like this. You cut the top, and then the bottom will shoot out to branch out, and you keep the branch bottom longer so they get thicker, and then you gradually work on it. And so this will be the next step. I shouldn't have put it in a bonsai pot, because if it's growing in a growing pot, it'll be growing faster. But I'm coming up with a method to keep the soil really moist, and that will give me close to the same equivalency. And then as this tree matures, you keep working on it. After 15 years, I would say it'll be looking like this. And this, of course, is different variety. This is a Seiju Elm with a corking quality. Although the Seiju Elm is quite inappropriate for wiring, but it's really more appropriate for a cut and grow method, and that's what I use on this tree. It's never been wired. And you can see the cutting here and cutting here to cause the branch to root out and cause the tapering. So that's the process. So with that in mind, then I hope you like this video, because I hope it's informative and could help your journey in the bonsai tree that you're creating. And please click like, that's my reward. And please subscribe to our channel and sign on to our website's mailing list, so that we can notify you of any sale that's coming up, because I want you to get it with the very limited quantities we have. So again, this is Seiju Elm, that's a Catlin elm, that's a Chinese elm. They're all Chinese in nature, but somewhat, well, this is actually more Hokkaido. So with that in mind, then thank you very much. I hope to see you next week.